Hey everyone, welcome to our monthly webinar. I'm Dave Alton. I am the CTO here at Strategic Information Resources, and we're going to be talking about who has the keys to your business. We're going to have some story time and some fixes for those stories, and we're going to give you an action plan at the end of all of this, as well as some handouts. So stick around. We're going to wait about 5 minutes to let everybody get into the meeting room, and then we are going to jump into it. Looking forward to hearing everybody's comments. We're going to have some questions at the end if anybody has any. But for now, I'm going to mute and come off camera, and we'll be back in, like I said, about 5 minutes. Well, if they're not in here yet, then they're going to miss out on this great presentation. So let's jump in. Again, my name is Dave Alton. I am the Chief Technology Officer here at Strategic Information Resources. We are a managed service provider. And today we are going to talk about who has the keys to your business. And we're going to go through 3 stories and fixes for those stories for early 2026. Cyber attacks are always increasing, and we want you to be as prepared as possible. So who we are a bunch of solutionists. We love to work on technology and solve business problems using tech. We always take a cybersecurity first approach with everything that we do because we want to protect your people and your profits. We have a team of 16 people here. We're based in the Los Angeles area. We support around 150 clients, but we have clients throughout the nation. We really do love working with small businesses and getting them up to speed on their technology and solutions that work for them. Who am I? I'm Dave Alton, as I've said. I'm the Chief Technology Officer here. I have been working in the security realm, doing various types of frameworks, security frameworks, including Sarbanes-Oxley, HIPAA, PCI, and most recently doing some work with CMMC. I was the chair, this slide is a little outdated, I was the chair of the GTIA Cybersecurity Task Force, which is a task force of individuals that really look at the MSP space and how to protect it. I counsel and work with literally hundreds of owners and translate really complex technology problems into solutions that help businesses grow, reduce costs, become more productive, or better protections, right? Keep them safe. I happen to be a proud dad of a 14-year-old baseball player who just started his CIF season. Having a lot of fun with that and watching him bat the ball around and pitch like a demon. So let's jump into the content. What are we talking about? So, it used to be that every business had a front door, right? Brick and mortar kind of situation. People walked in, people dealt with things that were going on in the business, serving customers. And that was really all you had to worry about, right? You had a front door, and that was the way people got to you. The reality is that has completely turned on end in 2026. And what we're seeing now is that every single device, every cloud service, every file you save, all of these different places are front doors, right? They have an app, you log into it, that login is the front door to that app. Sometimes they're innocuous, could be a marketing platform, probably isn't going to be a deal breaker for anybody, but it could be your bank, it could be the where all your users are kept and things like that. So what we want to really examine today is kind of 3 scenarios around, what are the keys that you do have and who has access to those keys, and maybe some ways that we can protect those from being used inappropriately or accidentally in an incorrect way. So let's start with story one. So story one, this is, pretty much everybody. I work from home. A lot of people do. You could be working in the office. But Sarah's a busy business owner. She keeps her email and banking tabs open all the time, all day long, because she's moving in and out of those and she wants to be productive. And what she does is she gets up and she goes and grabs a coffee, or she refills her coffee. And I'm not talking about being on a, network, in a Starbucks where, pretty much every bad guy in the world can kind of get into those networks and do whatever they want to in them. We're talking about in her home network, in a what she probably feels is a safe space. And the reality is that the minute you leave your computer open and signed into applications that give the bad guy or an attacker what's called an active session, bad things can start happening, right? They call them token keys. And what happens is I start a conversation with a server. I put in a username and password to prove who I am. And then instead of having to put that username and password in all the time, it creates a session token. That session token is what says, hey, you can communicate between this point and that point. So between Sarah and the bank. That session token is what the bad guys really want, because the session token allows them to act as the individual that they are trying to hack. So it's really important that when you're logged in and you have active tabs open and you do step away, the minute you lock your screen, a whole bunch of things happens inside the operating system. And it makes it such a bad guy can't get those active sessions because technically they're not active anymore. So it's a really great way to keep the bad guys from kind of going through and getting those is go in and lock your session, right? Take your most sensitive apps and log out of those, right? If you're not gonna, yeah, it's great. You have your banking app open and, you can get into it really fast and see what's going on. But do you really need it open for any extended period of time? Can't you just, I don't need that today. I'm gonna lock it or I'm gonna log out of it. Logging back in takes seconds. But if a bad guy's on your machine and if they get that session token, what's it worth to you to have that minor inconvenience for the safety of not being hacked? So once you lock the screen, it locks the door behind you, right? It's really, really easy to do. On a Windows machine, it's a Windows key with an L, and that will automatically lock your screen. You can also set screen timeouts to allow the machine to automatically, after a certain amount of inactivity, lock the screen. Again, that lock is really, really important because all those session tokens are in like a pause state and they can't really be utilized for the bad guy. And I know some of you are going to say, yeah, but I have MFA and, do I really have to do that? The answer is yes, because once I have that session token, once I am you in the digital sense, I don't need MFA. I'm locked in. I'm ready to go. I have all I need to continue to pretend to be you. So that's story one. Let's jump into story two. So this happens all the time. And a lot of it has to do more with procedure than it does anybody doing anything wrong. But Mark, another business owner, goes and hires a freelancer for a 3-month project. He does excellent work, but the project ended. 6 months later, that freelancer's personal computer was hacked. Because Mark, the business owner, never revoked that freelancer's credentials, they have the key to your Dropbox, and they would be able to get into Mark's files. So what we want in this case is we want you as a business owner to make sure that the right people have the right keys, that you don't have stale keys for certain things that are potentially dangerous if a bad guy gets, right? We don't want a ghost in your system, basically. So how do we fix this? Pretty straightforward, right? This is, you just need a repeatable process. every time a person gains access to your systems, whether it be Dropbox or maybe it's a marketing platform or maybe they're going in and doing something with QuickBooks because they're your accountant, you make note of that. Just write it down, put it in a spreadsheet. Make sure that you know who it is that has a key and what keys they have. So in this case, the person had the key to Dropbox. So I would write down freelancer Dropbox. So now I know when that person leaves, I look at my sheet and I go, okay, I got to go in and I got to revoke all the sessions, all the user connections to that service, app, process, whatever the case may be. And I just basically go in and delete that user. I don't need that person in there anymore. They don't need to accidentally be in there. And more importantly, we don't want a situation coming up where that person gets hacked and now they have access to your stuff. So, again, don't rely on your memory. Make the list when it happens, right? And then make a process for offboarding that person, right? Have it written down with checks that you go through. Hey, got rid of Dropbox, got rid of QuickBooks, got rid of marketing platform, HubSpot, got rid of HubSpot. Make sure that those are checked off, you've done them, and that you then have a process in your spreadsheet that says, deactivated, and that's confirmed, right? So that is our story number 2. Story number 3, you're out at dinner, having a nice time, maybe had a cocktail or two, and your phone pings with some login request, and you look and you go, oh my gosh, I'll bet so-and-so locked themselves out again. I'll just go ahead and approve this. I'm telling you right now, I know our phones are designed, right? They're absolutely 100% designed to grab our attention all the time, constantly. And what we want to do is we want to take the action, whatever we need to do to make that notification go away. I'm telling you right now, do not do this. You should never assume that it was a delayed sync or some kind of glitch or somebody that is doing something and they need access. You should always confirm. I happen to be the holder of our Sirinc administration keys, and I every time one of those dings come up, I look at it and I go, okay, I wonder what this is, and then I put a message in our chat boards and I say, hey, who's trying to get into server XYZ? And if I don't get a response, I just let it go. I don't do anything with it. So don't approve those automatically, and especially don't approve them if you suddenly see a flurry of them. If it's all, nothing, and then, one right after another for half an hour, you've got a bigger problem. Don't approve it. You probably have somebody in your system that's trying to get in, has a username and password combo that's working, but they don't have the MFA. And they're just hoping that you are fatigued enough with that MFA and ding, 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 ding going off on your phone that you just hit approve. Right? So make sure that you're doing this. There's a bunch of different ways to do this, but one way is switch your team to number matching instead of the simple approve button. That prevents the accidental, oh, oops, I approved that and I didn't mean to. This puts in, there's a code between your phone and between the application that is shared, and you can't really do one without the other. So you can't just approve. If you're not sitting at your computer, you can't see the number, so the attacker can't really get in, right? They're on 2 separate devices. The last thing I'll say is that even if you are in the approve mode, right? I just need to click a button to approve it. Just take 2 seconds. I think one of the best pieces of cybersecurity advice that I can give people is slow down. That notification, that ping on your phone is probably not the end of the world if you don't get to it in the next 2 seconds. Slow down, look at it, see what's there, and then decide, oh yeah, I definitely need to approve that, or oops, we may have something else going on. I should probably kind of review. So what do we want to do? I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to a 30-day key challenge. So really what we want to do is, part of the webinar is designed to make sure that you're kind of moving through this stuff. So you heard 3 stories, 3 fixes that you could probably put in place yourself today. And so we want to walk through each one of these at a high level, and then point you to some deeper detail that you can get on each of the following pages. That's also tightly tied to the handouts that are attached to this session. So in week 1, we really want to do that user audit. We want to go in and look for all the active users in our various applications, programs, and apps that we run on our phones and things like that, and make sure only the right people are in there, right? Your employees, your user list. It might be a good time to make that spreadsheet of what the users have, right? Do that maybe at the same time. Week 2, we want to clean up the browser. A lot of the browser issues we see are people save passwords in the browser versus a secure vault, and sometimes it's hard to tell the difference, but your secure vault is normally an app that you have initiated in some way, shape, or form, whereas the browser is just, the browser says save password, and you really don't have to put anything else in for it. Don't use those, because that's basically like saying, here, have all my passwords. In week 3, we really want to see, can we downsize any of the administrative duties? A great example of this is a lot of business owners go in and set up their own email tenants in Microsoft or Google, and they make themselves an admin. And that makes perfect sense day 1. But once you start transacting email, you should no longer be a top-level admin. You should be a user. So you should go in, create an admin that has the right access, but that doesn't transact email. So you have a bifurcation of your daily driver, what you get your email on and respond to and things like that, and where you perform administrative tasks. And that does 2 things. 1, it makes it such that you're not going to accidentally make a mistake, right? We've all done this. We're probably a little higher admin than we need to be. We go in and delete something. Oh man, I just deleted that for everyone and not just me, right? But if you're just signing in as a user, you're only going to delete that for you. The other reason for that bifurcation is if a bad guy does get in, okay, it's not good. They're going to get some of your emails. They may be able to perform a spam campaign, but what they're not going to be able to do is they're not going to be able to gain persistence. They're not going to be able to go in, create a new admin profile, hide it, and then have lots of access to all your users, create new users, send more mail. Like, it's really bad when you have that. So find a way to kind of build admins for the right level of the work that needs to be done. And then we want you to make your offboarding checklist. Make that part of your process. Make sure that you're going through that process anytime anybody leaves the organization. So let's talk about the user audit. So open your Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace user list. Just go in and look at it. If you see someone that's no longer there, go in and disable them at a minimum, right? Or delete them if they don't have any resources that are tied up. Every former employee or contractor that has an active account this is like letting them in the door all the time. Not only could a bad guy take advantage of it, but they have access to docs that maybe have, private material or things that you don't want them to have access to, or, they went to a competitor and now they have access to your customers, right? So it's a 5-minute thing. You should probably do it like once a quarter just to make sure that things aren't changing too much. Larger organizations with more people, it needs to be done more often. But for 5, 10, 15, 20 people, that's definitely something that you can do in 5 minutes and quickly look through. And because you're probably not having lots and lots of turnover and changes and things like that. So it's an easy thing to do, and it has a lot of benefits. Browser cleanup. Go in, have everyone delete all their saved passwords in their browsers. Just period, end story. Administratively, we have tools that allow us to kind of go in and turn this feature off in most browsers. Edge, Chrome, Firefox all have some browser level password saving tool. But we don't want to use what's in the browser. Now, Google and a lot of other companies make a vault type password solution that can be tied to your browser, is used in the browser, but it's a secure vault. It has much tighter encryption technology, and if a bad guy gets into your browser, he can't just automatically see what's there, right? So we want to keep those keys hidden away in a secure place. Plus, the added value is if you're using a tool that manages your passwords, chances are your passwords are random. They have the right length or the right complexity, and they're unique for each sign-on. If there's one thing I can tell you about passwords, it's you should never use the same password twice. It should always be unique for every single app, every single thing that you do. So go in, get this cleaned up. Again, if this is difficult or challenging for an end user to do, there's lots of tools on how to do it and videos on how to do it. Or you can reach out to someone like Sirinc or other MSPs that can help you with this as well. The admin check. Okay, so again, you've got to do a couple of things. So if you're using your email as your administrator, the top level administrator, the guy that can get to anything, you have to stop doing that. I know it's a hassle. I know that you've got to respond to stuff as the owner, but you really, really need to turn that off. It is just way too easy as a bad guy. Once I have global admin access rights to an email system or to any app, I can really do what I want to. So I would make sure that you have 2 accounts that are global admins and have those rights, but only accounts that are not used for email. They don't even have to have a license in Microsoft world. You can keep these. You can keep one as like what we call a break glass account. This is something that you put in a safe somewhere and nobody else has access to it with the password. And then you have one that's kind of the daily driver that, needs to go in and do stuff on the regular at an administrative level, not email, but at an administrative level. So put those 2 in, and then everybody else that doesn't need it should have those rights removed. And let's say you're in an IT company. Let's say your IT department. The IT department gets into the habit of having their admins, their daily drivers be their admins. It's convenient because we do a lot of work in those admin areas, and I don't want to have to sign on every single time with another user. But the reality is it's just way too dangerous. It's too easy to have people take advantage of those admin credentials or do something accidentally. So really right size those admins. Make sure that they only have the admin access they need, and only on users that do not need to transact mail. I can't stress that enough. So in week 4, we really want to get that onboarding checklist done, right? Whoever handles that, your hiring and firing, make it a mandatory part of the business operations. Your HR department, when they onboard, you know exactly what they're getting. You know all the places that they're landing, what apps they use. So that when they do offboard or something changes, you have a very clean list to go in and just start, we don't need him in there anymore, and just delete, right? Or migrate their data, whatever the case may be, right? But without that checklist, you're guessing, and that is not a good way to deal with this. You want to make sure that you've got this written down, repeatable, and easy to do, right? And if you don't have to think about it, it's much, much easier to do. So We are here to protect your people and your profits. We're, like I said at the onset, we are here to kind of enhance your cybersecurity as well as other things. But in this particular webinar, we're talking about cybersecurity. We want to make sure that you're managing those technologies as well as you can. But what we find is sometimes people struggle with this, right? IT isn't their first job. They don't understand exactly all the things that we need to do. And what we find is we can come in and help, right? We can help you and your team be much more efficient at getting IT done and using IT well. We also have some handouts. If you email info@Sirinc.com, we will get you out the handouts. We'll have the offboarding checklist. It's kind of a generic. You will have to, set this up specific for your organization. But we talk about kind of all the things that are potential doors that your ex-employees might have access to. And so it's a good starting point, but it's something you should customize. So I don't know. I've kind of been monitoring the chat. I haven't seen anything come in, and I don't see any questions in Q&A. Is there any questions that anybody might have?
That was just me, Dave.
Oh, okay. So Carly is probably not going to ask any questions. So I think that's pretty much it. Everything that we wanted to cover today. Like I said, we'll get you those handouts. Please just email info@Sirinc.com and we'll get those for you. But where do you go from here? If this is something you want to piece together yourself, we've given you the tools and kind of the information that you need to be able to do that. Some of the processes that you should take into account and pay attention to while doing that. But if you have more things on your plate than you know what to handle already, and this is just one more on that plate and it can't have the urgency that you need it to have, by all means, reach out to us. We are happy to jump into the mix and help out with these types of things. And with that, I think we have a strategy session that you can book with us at any time. There's a link on the page here. By all means, reach out to us. Either that, you can email us at info@Sirinc.com, whatever your flavor is. But we are happy to jump into the mix and just talk about strategy, what the right way to handle this stuff is. And with that, I want to thank you. I want you to enjoy your last day of February and have a great weekend. And we look forward to seeing you the next time. Thanks, everyone.